For centuries, the Arab world ruled the Indian Ocean. Their traders, merchants, and sailors controlled the most valuable trade network in human history, the spice route. This was more than just commerce. It was an empire built on knowledge, navigation, and secrecy. The world's most coveted goods, black pepper, nutmeg, cinnamon, and cloves, flowed through Arab hands, and the wealth they amassed rivaled the fortunes of kings. European explorers longed to break this monopoly, but they faced an insurmountable barrier. They simply did not know the way. Every European fleet that attempted the journey into the Indian Ocean vanished, claimed by the sea or lost in the labyrinth of unknown waters. The Arabs held the ultimate advantage. Their mastery of the monsoon winds, their intimate knowledge of the ocean's currents, and their closely guarded maps ensured that no outsider could encroach on their domain. Their secrets, passed down through generations, were the key to their dominance. The greatest navigator of the East, Ahmad ibn Majid, was born into this world of mastery and mystery. He belonged to a lineage of legendary navigators, inheriting the wisdom of the seas from his ancestors. By the age of 17, he had already earned the title of a master navigator. His knowledge seemed almost supernatural. He could predict storms weeks before they arrived. He knew every reef, every treacherous current, and every hidden pathway across the waters. But his most valuable possession, the fabled Book of Secret Navigation, a manuscript containing the sum total of Arab maritime knowledge. It held the keys to the trade routes that made the Arab world rich. This book was so sacred that it was entrusted only to the most faithful navigators, men sworn to protect its contents with their lives. If its secrets ever fell into enemy hands, the consequences would be catastrophic. The desperation of the Portuguese. Meanwhile, in Portugal, the situation was dire. European sailors had spent over 50 years attempting to reach India, and each voyage ended in disaster. Their ships never returned, their crews were lost to unknown waters, and their dreams of breaking the Arab stranglehold on the spice trade remained unfulfilled. Vasco da Gama, one of Portugal's most ambitious explorers, was determined to succeed where all others had failed. But time was running out. Without access to India's spices, Portugal's economy was on the verge of collapse. It was then that whispers reached da Gama's ears, whispers of a legendary Arab navigator who knew every secret of the Indian Ocean. If he could find this man, he could accomplish what no European before him had managed. The betrayal that changed history. In 1498, Vasco da Gama's fleet arrived in Malindi, a coastal city in modern-day Kenya. There, he found Ahmad ibn Majid. What happened next remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Some say ibn Majid was deceived. Others claim he was bribed with unimaginable wealth. Some even whisper that he was drunk. But regardless of the truth, one thing is certain. He agreed to guide Vasco da Gama to India. Using the knowledge that had been fiercely protected by generations of Arab sailors, da Gama and his fleet reached India in just 23 days. The impossible had been achieved. The route that had remained hidden from Europeans for centuries was now theirs. And with that, the fate of the Arab maritime empire was sealed. The collapse of Arab maritime power. What followed was nothing short of devastation. Within years, Arab trading supremacy crumbled. The Portuguese, armed with the stolen knowledge of ibn Majid, returned with warships. They seized control of the seas, destroying Arab fleets, looting coastal cities, and taking over the lucrative spice trade. The once unbreakable Arab monopoly was no more. The impact was immediate and irreversible. The grand trade network that had sustained Arab power for centuries collapsed. European powers now dominated the seas, and the colonization of Asia began. All of this traced back to one moment, one decision by a man whose motives remain a mystery. The erasure of Ibn Majid. But ibn Majid's betrayal was not the end of his story. It was only the beginning of his downfall. The Portuguese, after exploiting his knowledge, turned against him. They spread rumors that he was a traitor, a drunkard, a fool who had given away his people's greatest secrets. Within years, his name became a curse among his own people. The most skilled navigator of his time was erased from history, remembered not as a genius, but as the man who had doomed the Arab Empire. The Portuguese did more than steal the route to India. They rewrote history to paint themselves as the true pioneers. They claimed Arab star charts as their own discoveries. They took credit for the knowledge of monsoon wind patterns. They presented themselves as the first to map the oceans, erasing the contributions of Arab sailors entirely. For centuries, Ibn Majid was left in the shadows, remembered only as a cautionary tale. The truth uncovered. It was not until 1971 that the truth began to emerge. Translator G.R. Tibbets uncovered the full extent of the historical theft. He examined Ibn Majid's surviving manuscripts and found that they contained the very knowledge that the Portuguese had claimed as their own. Routes to India's ports. Precise celestial navigation techniques. Understanding of monsoon wind patterns. Everything the Portuguese had discovered had already existed in Ibn Majid's works. The European narrative was a fabrication, built on stolen knowledge. Reclaiming the legacy. Today, the Arab world is still working to restore Ibn Majid's legacy, not as a traitor, but as a genius whose work was exploited and whose story was rewritten. His tragedy is a reminder that history is often written by the victors, and those who lose control of their own narrative risk being erased. The fate of Ibn Majid is not just a story of the past, it is a lesson for the present. Those who fail to tell their own story will have it told for them. And often, it will not be a story of their choosing. But in the modern world, we have the power to shape our own legacies. With the rise of social media, digital storytelling, and global communication, no one can erase the truth forever. The ability to control our own narratives is stronger than ever before. Ibn Majid's name is being restored to history. The truth is resurfacing. And perhaps, in time, his legacy will be remembered for what it truly is, not as a cautionary tale of betrayal, but as a testament to the brilliance of a forgotten genius. If you don't control your own narrative, others will write it for you. History buries those who have no voice. But today, we have the power to control our own stories, to share knowledge, to reclaim lost histories, and to make sure the truth is never erased again. So if you found this story fascinating, like, share, and subscribe. Let's bring forgotten history back to life. Because history isn't just written in books, it's written by those who tell it.